Before energy gels, electrolyte tablets, or vacuum-sealed ration packs, there were warriors on horseback crossing thousands of miles of wind-scoured grassland with nothing but leather, mare's milk, and an ancient understanding of fermentation that modern science is only now beginning to fully appreciate. Welcome to Fieldcraft Chronicles. Today we're riding back across 8 centuries to uncover one of the most ingenious portable nutrition systems ever devised, a living, breathing, self-sustaining brew that Mongolian steppe warriors carried on their saddles and drank on the move. This isn't just history. This is fieldcraft at its absolute finest. Picture the Mongolian steppe in the 13th century. A vast rolling ocean of grass stretching beyond every horizon, baked by summer sun and sliced by winds cold enough to cut through bone. Genghis Khan's cavalry could cover up to 80 miles in a single day, operating deep in enemy territory with no supply lines, no base camps, and no guarantee of food. What kept them moving wasn't sheer willpower alone. Hanging from every saddle was a leather vessel called a kuhur, packed with fresh mare's milk and sealed tight. By the time a warrior made camp that evening, what sloshed inside was no longer just milk. It was airag, a lightly fizzing, mildly alcoholic, nutrient-dense fermented drink that had been slowly coming alive throughout the entire day's ride. What makes this technique genuinely extraordinary is that the horse itself was the brewing apparatus. The warmth radiating off the animal's body maintained an ideal fermentation temperature, while the rhythmic motion of the ride continuously agitated the milk inside the bag, mimicking the stirring process that modern fermentation science recognizes as critical to microbial activity. Naturally occurring, lactobacillus bacteria and wild yeasts already present in the milk began converting lactose into lactic acid and a small percentage of alcohol, typically between 1 and 3%, creating a drink that was simultaneously hydrating, caloric, and gently stimulating. The warrior didn't need to stop, set up equipment, or tend a fire. The fermentation happened underneath him, mile after mile, hour after hour. The true genius of this system lay in its continuity. Mongolian warriors never fully emptied their fermentation vessels. By leaving a small amount of the active, cultured liquid at the bottom and topping it up with fresh mare's milk each morning, they maintained a perpetual living culture that grew stronger and more reliable with every passing day. This is the same biological principle behind sourdough starters and traditional kefir cultures, the idea that a well-maintained fermentation community becomes increasingly robust over time. In a world without refrigeration, without sterile packaging, and without resupply convoys, this self-perpetuating brew was a lifeline that never needed to be rebuilt from scratch. Mare's milk was not chosen arbitrarily. It is compositionally closer to human breast milk than cow's milk, with a higher lactose content, meaning more fermentable sugar and a more vigorous microbial reaction. Fermented airag is remarkably rich in vitamin C, a nutrient almost entirely absent from a meat-heavy campaign diet, along with B vitamins, vitamin D, calcium, and easily digestible proteins. The fermentation process breaks down much of the lactose, making it accessible even to those who might otherwise struggle with dairy. For a warrior riding through territory stripped of vegetation and game, this drink was not a luxury. It was a complete nutritional intervention, engineered by centuries of nomadic trial and error into something astonishingly efficient. The Mongol Empire eventually fragmented, but airag did not disappear. It is still produced today across Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, brewed seasonally between May and October when mares are lactating, and consumed during festivals and daily life with the same cultural reverence it has carried for generations. What this tradition teaches the modern fieldcrafter is not merely a recipe. It is a philosophy. The Mongolian warrior did not wait for resources to come to him. He understood his environment deeply enough to turn the animal beneath him, the temperature of the air, and the motion of travel itself into a functioning food production system. Every element of the journey became part of the solution. That kind of thinking, adaptive, resource-aware and rooted in deep environmental knowledge, is precisely what separates survival from mere endurance. Whether you're planning a long backcountry expedition, building out your preparedness kit, or simply fascinated by the ingenuity of those who came before us, the lesson from the Mongolian steppe is timeless. Know your resources, waste nothing, and let the journey itself do the work wherever possible. The most elegant fieldcraft solutions are rarely the most complicated ones. More often they are the ones hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to recognize them. If this episode sparked something in you, a curiosity, a respect for the old ways, or a hunger to learn more, then you're exactly who Fieldcraft Chronicles was built for. Subscribe now so you never miss an episode, and share this video with every history lover, bushcrafter, and self-reliance enthusiast in your circle. The knowledge is out there. We're just riding out to find it.